Thank you. So if you'll notice on the top of the slides before we get started, up in your right-hand corner, there'll be a pencil. And if the pencil's on the slide, then that means it relates to the handout. And I'm sorry, there's not enough handouts for everybody since we're having such a great group. You ready, Ted? Huh? Oh, we got a couple extras if somebody needs one. So, Ted, we ready? Okay, so to back up, with what Josh just said, I want to kind of start off with your why. So I want you to think about when you started your business, why did you start your business? We all start them for different reasons. It could be independence, flexibility, you wanted to be your own boss, but think back to what was the reason and what was your why on starting your business. Now I want to ask you, what is your ultimate why as to why are you in business right now? Those are two different things. I mean, they could be two different things. They could be the same reason. My why when I started my business is totally different than my why of what I do now. So think about that, and then we're just going to take a minute and we're going to share around the table. Just go around the table and share with each other, what your ultimate why is, why you're in business today. Everybody's deeply writing. So share with your table, among your table, just go around the table and share your whys. Okay, let's bring it back. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We'll bring it back. I should have had the sound on here. So there are 2.4 million deaths in the United States every year, and that consistently is growing. 75% of those deaths are from causes that are within our control. 75% of all doctor visits are stress-related. I am a reforming workaholic. I lived the part of being a workaholic. I was actually really living the lie that I had to work harder and harder, longer and longer, just to be able to keep up and to do and be dedicated and loyal. And I really kind of took that, wore that as a badge of honor for a long time until I found myself in the hospital, heart monitors on, realizing that I needed to relook at my life. Fast forward a couple more years, and I did change a few things, but then I was diagnosed with a life-threatening disease that I now have to continue all the rest of my life to keep in check. And that disease was brought on, and it is induced and from stress. So I'm here today to talk to you about just workaholic, being a stress, maybe you're just working a little bit too much, and just kind of bringing it all into reality. So you might not associate with workaholic. It's just the word that I use, that I relate to. It was very interesting. I did a survey of 20 small business owners in the last couple months, and most of them did not relate with workaholic. But what they did relate with was highly driven, overworked, successful, juggling, doing what they love, frustrated, ambitious, struggling, motivated, overwhelmed, getting a go-getter, passionate, overbooked, excited, and stressed, and an overachiever. And then when you look at the negative words up there, I would say those tend to be, would tend to go into the workaholic world. But it doesn't matter if you're calling yourself a workaholic or you just have maybe some of the symptoms of what I call workaholic. It's just something that I'm hoping that you'll be a little bit more aware of. So a lot of us think of work-life balance. Everybody kind of associates and knows what that means. I kind of don't like work-life balance because I don't see work and life as two different things. I think it's all life. It's just our personal and our professional lives. So it's really about trying to balance those. So it's kind of a balancing act. We're trying to, give enough time to both. I think it's really a tug of war where sometimes we're on this side of it and other times we're on that side of it. And as business owners, we juggle a lot more than a lot of people do. So as entrepreneurs, because of the hours that we work, we tend to get pegged as workaholics, even though we might not be one, but it really does. We tend to spend more time working than we do with other things in our lives. And because we're trying to do it all, we start burning the candle at both ends, which then causes burnout, causes stress and frustration, which is not good for us. I already told you my health story, so it's not good for our health. It's not good for our business because when we are in burnout, we're stressed, we're overwhelmed, we're not making good business decisions. And it's not good for our relationships. As a lot of you know in the room, I lost my husband 1.5 years ago. And one day I came home, the day I came home from work, and he said, something happened when I got up out of the chair, my side hurts. And he said, it's pretty painful. So I said, well, let me see if I can get you to the doctor. The doctor had an opening, we went right to the doctor. So here's a man who, he had some health issues, but nothing life-threatening, right? And within 2 days, he was gone from living life to being told you have 4 to 6 months. In reality, he only had 5 weeks. And it's not about that. It's more that we don't know when our next day is going to be. We don't know when our loved one's next day is going to be. So it's really about, is that vacation you wanted to take? Is it something you want to do? Be more aware of what life really is, and it's not all about work. And you can keep that balance. As I said earlier about my workaholism, after I really realized I had to change my life, my family became the most important thing. And I'm thankful that it did. So here are some areas that I think you can take inventory of. Yourself, how much rest you're getting, your health, and your work and your life. And look at those areas and figure out how much time you're spending in each one, and do you need to make an adjustment? I know there are a few people in this room who do really well on this and are able to keep it all in balance. But for the most of it, and most workaholics, Dale?
Yes, Kathy, I think to your point, the thing that we don't realize is that we're making choices and we're making too many of them at the subconscious level, and not making conscious choices about how we're going to, what goals we're going to set for each of these areas, or what measures we want to achieve in each of these areas, and then being conscious about measuring where we are in relation to that goal that we set for ourselves, and developing a conscious mindset in essence.
Exactly, and that's really what the whole concept about today is. And one of the areas that I have found for my clients, the biggest one is self-care. And especially women tend to not take care of themselves as well as they should. So just be a little bit more about that self-care. What can you do for yourself just to reduce that stress, that overwhelmed feeling that you're having? And living your why, your lifestyle. Are you living the lifestyle you want? Just be more aware of that. And then I want you to go back to what you just shared at the table. Are you truly living that why? Why you're in business, are you living that? And is it creating the lifestyle that you want? So to be able to do that is, as Dale said, is a constant focus. We have to be consciously aware of what we're looking at and what we're doing and making conscious choices and not choices from our subconscious. So we tend to do a lot of shifting of our priorities as constantly, right? So, I'm gonna kind of close that. So at your table, we're going to do this real briefly. And I think what we'll do, since there's so many people and not just one person that's in the middle of two other people, you're going to be a storyteller. So just find somebody at your table that's going to talk to two people that are on each side of them. So they need to, okay? So just raise your hand who's going to do that. Okay. Now listen up. Listen up. So the person on your right, when I say go, you're going to tell them about your dinner last night. You're going to tell them maybe where you went, who cooked the dinner, how long, whatever that story is. And when I say switch, you're going to turn to the other person. And you're going to look these people right in the eye as you're telling your story. And then I want you to tell them about your best vacation or a vacation coming up or your ideal vacation. Are you ready? Okay, go. Look, one person talking. Okay, switch. Switch and tell the next story. Okay, switch and go back to the first person. Finish your story. Okay, now switch and go to the next story. Okay. All right. Can I have your attention? Okay. So my question would be, not only to the person who was trying to tell the two stories, if anybody get confused? And then was it confusing to the person who you were talking to, right? So we really have to focus on our priorities. And we can only you think about multitasking, that was multitasking, that we cannot do when it takes mental energy. So we really have to focus on our top priorities. And when you're looking at your day to day, what you need to do today, it's not about the 10 things, 20 things that are on your list. It's about what must be done today. And I think for 3 things. 1, to make sure you're doing your why. Make sure you're moving your business forward, right? And make sure that you're living the life your lifestyle that you want. If before you do anything, that's what needs to be done every single day. And if you do that every single day, the other stuff will fall into the place that it needs to fall. But we have to be very conscious about what we're doing and where we're spending our time. So we're constantly juggling as business owners, and then we also are constantly dropping the ball. And then we have to go get the ball, and then we start the juggling again, and we drop the ball, right? So think about what you can take off your plate. What is that 1, 2, 3 things that doesn't even have to be done? That you can stop doing it, or that you can delegate, or that you can outsource. But it's right back to being really focused on what's important to make sure you're living and working your why. And I think it comes down to really just being truthful to ourselves. You know, we can say what we value, if it's our family, if it's our friends, if it's our work. I mean, work might be the most important thing to you. But whatever you really value, are you really taking care of that? And are you really giving it the time and the effort that you want? Because you can say that all day long, but if your actions don't match your words, you're really just not being truthful to them or you. Yes, Dale?
Yeah, I'd also suggest that you ask yourself, is this bringing me the joy that I'm actually looking for in my life?
Right.
Because sometimes we get so caught up in goals that we've set that we lose sight of whether or not it's fun anymore pursuing that particular goal.
Right. So it really is, you know, I would suggest that you go back and you put your why up in front of you and you keep it in front of you all the time. So my question is, what will you do differently? So we're just going to take another minute or so. How much time do we have? 5. Okay. So we're going to just take a minute or so and talk around the table about what you would do differently based on the subject this morning. So. Okay, let's bring it back. Okay, so was there anything that was really eye-opening for anybody that really, okay, I need to really make a difference? Anybody want to share anything? Dale, you want to pass the microphone back?
Cathy, I thought the exercise of telling the two different stories just nailed what I was doing yesterday at my desk. I was on the phone with a client, and while they were telling their story, blah, 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 as clients tend to do, I started reading email. I went, oh, God, this is an important email. And I started answering the email as the client was talking to him. I'm going, I'm missing out on what the client's saying. And I'm like, you got to prioritize and stay focused, like you just said, to the task at hand.
Right.
Complete the task because it's important, and then go to another task and prioritize what's important and focus on it. I thought it was a great exercise. It really drew it home.
Great. Anybody else?
The only thing that I want to add, because I was just telling my table, so for me, I love you. I don't even know who you are, but I love you. So we need more of that. And I understand now while Dale, because he knows how busy I am, and I understand why he wanted me to come to this, and I appreciate people like you, because that's what's missing in the United States of America, are people like you who understand the reason of focus on what you want to do that makes you happy, and forget so much about the money and what other people are telling you to do. Focus on what makes you happy. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so maybe you're a workaholic, maybe you're not, maybe, it's just something to think about. If you do feel like you might be a little overworked, a little overwhelmed, I do have a new quiz on my website that you can go out and take, and you'll get some results on and it's all based on it's not any scientific information, but it's all based on mine and how I'm trying to help more small business owners. So thank you for your time today.
And thank you for showing me. I didn't know.